Welcome to Shootin' the Sport, where I sit down with your favorite coaches, athletes, and people in the industry to shoot the, you know. I'm Matison Little, and today's guest is John Rhys Plumlee. John Rhys is someone who carved his own path in athletics. He played not only football, but also baseball at the Division I level. A common theme in this episode is sense of self. John Rhys talks about his self-confidence and how that got him to where he is now. We touch on the craziness that is being a dual sport athlete and also the importance of being present, especially in the chaos. John Rhys Plumlee, welcome to Shootin' the Sport.
Let's go. Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
So the first thing I have to say to you is go Knights.
Charge on. Let's go. Heck yeah, let's go.
So a big reason why I wanted to have you on was, like I told you before we started recording, I was around UCF athletics during your time there, and just seeing and hearing about you as an athlete, you as a person, I had to jump on the chance to have you on, and I'm super pumped about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's super not small world, I guess, but because there's always great nights everywhere, but it's also awesome to meet a fellow Knight and be able to hop on it and chat it up.
Of course. So you started your collegiate career at Ole Miss, then you went to UCF, and the greatest university in the country, in my opinion.
Let's go. Let's go.
And then you had the opportunity to not only play football, but you played baseball too.
Yeah.
Were you always a multiple sport athlete growing up? Was that something maybe your family preached to you growing up?
Yeah, in my family, we were not allowed to put all our eggs in one basket. Like we had to. I have a little bit about myself. I grew up with an awesome family, mom and dad, and then an older sister, Ryan, and a younger sister, Reese. And we were busy doing something all the time. You know, for me, I love sports, so it was football, baseball, basketball, soccer, like whatever I could do, I was doing. My sisters, it was dance. They played volleyball. They were awesome at it. And we all played piano growing up. So like it was just we were always doing something, putting feelers out. You know, like we were in the middle of something at all times. So yeah, I always have played more than one sport, and when I had the opportunity to play both at the collegiate level, it was awesome opportunity. Super excited about it. I'm super blessed to be able to have the opportunity to do so, and then to do it. It was great.
When you're growing up and you're playing all of these sports, have you always gravitated towards football being kind of your priority?
So I would say it was always football, baseball, right? Like I just love those two. Obviously, I think I excelled a little bit more at those two. Other than I love basketball, but I wasn't a great basketball player. Soccer, I just wasn't the best at, you know. But I still love to do it. And so you always kind of gravitate towards stuff I think you're a little bit better at. And so football and baseball was it for me. And but deciding between the two growing up, I'm playing in the MLB and I'm playing in the NFL. Like, you're not telling me that I'm not going to do both. And so, hard to say growing up which one, but now ultimately playing in the NFL and having a blast doing it. Ultimately, I think I picked the right road, but man, I should miss baseball sometimes.
Well, kudos to you for being great at two sports, because I was good at zero, which is why I talk about them for a living.
Sure. I think you got a pretty good gig.
Yeah, it could be worse, right? So growing up with these two core sports, I will say, what do you think the benefit has been to having two sports under your belt? Maybe how do they complement each other a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Doing multiple growing up, I think keeps you like well-rounded. I think it also, like, at a young age, like for a young John Rhys, it kept me entertained with them. You know, like if I had to do one thing year round as a kid, like I don't know how much I would have loved it, just because I love to be doing so many different things. But in college, and when I started kind of specializing in the two in high school, and especially in college, like you could see how they were playing off of each other, one being a spring sport, one being a fall sport. So there's obviously the being able to, like, in football season, I'm a football player, and then in baseball season, I'm a baseball player. That was nice to be able to just like say, like, I'm going to do this now, and then I'm going to do this, right? Like it was nice to be able to do that. But I kind of always compared, there's a lot of similar, without getting into the weeds of it, like throwing mechanics wise,
Right.
there's a lot of similarities when it comes to swinging a baseball bat. And so I always kind of like, all right, I'm trying this when I'm, hitting a baseball. Let me try this and see what it feels like when I'm throwing a football. Talking about rotational mechanics, rotary mechanics, and so I love to dig into that stuff. Like I love to like move and to be specialized in moving. Like I want to move in the best way possible, and so that was a lot of fun for me to like dig into and see the correlation between the two.
When you get to the point in your life where you're about to go to college and you
Yeah,
have, this great world of sports in front of you, how do you advocate for yourself that you want to play both? Because usually
yeah,
people play one. So how did you
yeah.
get these college athletic departments to give you a shot and be able to play both?
It was crazy. Everybody has a crazy recruiting story, right? Like, but I think mine was unbelievable. Like, my first offer to play college football was from Dan Mullen at Mississippi State, and it was to play corner. It was to play cornerback, and I was fired up. Like any kid would be, right? Like, like I'm D1. Like, you can't tell me nothing. Like, I'm lit. That's all I've ever kind of wanted to do, and so like it was super exciting for me because when I was in high school way back in the day, 2019, not that long ago, but I feel like it's changed so much since then. Like there was no 7-on-7 a ton. Like
Right.
it was more like how you got exposure was going to college camps. And so I just went to Southern Miss, which is in my hometown, Ole Miss, which is obviously in Oxford, and Mississippi State, which was in Starkville, all in Mississippi, just because they were close, and ran a really good time at Mississippi State, and they gave me an offer. And so I go from being like, let's go, fired up about playing corner. Then the next week, Southern Miss gives me an offer. Then the next week, Alabama gives me an offer, and then after Alabama, everybody calls, right? Like
Right.
it was like once a big school calls, like everybody calls, and so I went from having like this one offer to play corner, I was like, let's go, to having a ton of opportunities, and then with some smaller schools, being able to play quarterback. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. I want
Right.
to play quarterback. And so I called all the big schools back. Hey, like I really appreciate the opportunity. This school's let me play quarterback. If it's not to play quarterback, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm just going to go elsewhere, right? And so like, oh, no worries. They kind of cut my list down a little bit. And then after another season of playing football, they all called back and they're like, hey, we want you to play football. And obviously, you get to know these coaches. They're texting you every day and whatnot. You're making relationships, and they're coming to watch baseball games. They come to your school all the time, and they know I love baseball. And then one of the smaller schools is like, "Hey, we'll let you play quarterback, and we'll let you play baseball." And so I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So I call all these big schools back. Hey, just want to let you know this is what the other school's offering. If you're not going to offer that, no worries. I really appreciate the opportunity, but I'm going to go elsewhere. And so, like, let me call the baseball coach. They would always call the baseball coach and call me back in like 10, 15 minutes, like, all right, you can do it. You can do quarterback. You can play baseball, like, and so then it's like, man, you get from a guy who is essentially, the saying beggars can't be choosers. I was a beggar. Like I would do anything. I would be the water boy if you wanted me to now being able to be a chooser between where I wanted to go to school and the best fit for me. It was crazy. It was crazy. Kind of felt like you were selling yourself a little bit, like, hey, I can do this.
Right.
Like, hey, like I'm the type of guy that can make this happen. And I also think, not to get too far into the story, like you have to be at a place that's willing to work with you.
Right.
Like you can't just do that. Like it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to like make it happen. Ole Miss was really great at it, but UCF like really jumped through hoops to make it happen.
Right.
Like they moved some practices around in the spring football. They bumped the game a little bit in baseball. Like they made it happen to so that I could do it. And
Right.
so kudos to Coach Lovelady. He's now at Purdue, and Coach Malzahn, who's at Florida State. Man, those guys were unbelievable in that whole process of being able to let me do that.
When you're in those positions where you're trying to make things happen and you're becoming a chooser,
Yeah,
what gives you the
yeah,
confidence in yourself to advocate for yourself in that situation?
yeah. I've always, confidence, I think, is a really big thing for a little kid, especially a male growing up. Like that belief in self is something that I think my dad kind of instilled in me from a young age, and I think it's a really like it's helped me out a ton. And if you don't have belief in your own self, nobody else is,
Right.
right? And so I've had a kind of I would say a very strong belief in self. You know that you kind of want to toe the line between cocky and
Right.
confident, right? Like you want to have that, but I think you got to have a really strong belief in self. And so I did like it during that period of time and still do, but I was like I can do this, right? Like I feel like I have the opportunity to, and I know I have the ability to. So why would I not at least ask the question?
Right.
Like they're gonna say if they're gonna say no, it's gonna say no. Cool, right? Like I'm still have the opportunity to whatever go play corner at Mississippi State. Like that's sick, you know. Like why not push the envelope? Say, hey, can I play baseball? And just see what they say. If
Right.
they say no, nobody's feelings are hurt. If they say yes, then you're playing baseball and football wherever you're at. So it was just that was the kind of mindset for me. And then when people started saying yes, I kind of started putting it on other people. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. If you're not going to offer it, no worries. I'm just not coming, you know, like, and so then they were trying to jump through hoops to make it happen. So, but yeah, I would say belief in self is a big piece.
I think we're relatively around the same age, and I think anybody going through this period of life, especially I think in the sports industry, whether you're an athlete or someone that talks about athletes, having
Yeah.
to have that sense of self and that confidence is huge. And it's
Yeah.
really inspiring to see someone who it's worked out for. So congrats on everything.
Sure. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And like you said, like it is like, and sometimes you have to. There was times like at Ole Miss when I wasn't playing as much in my last couple of years there, where it was like it was harder to have that belief in
Hmm.
self, you know. And I think it's really important, especially like football, athletics or non-athletics. Sometimes you have to almost have a delusional belief in self if you want to see something big happen. And so like you said, yeah, I think it's really important, especially in our age group, right? Like in this point of our life, to have that belief in self. I think you hit it right on the head.
Right. And you mentioned earlier that UCF did a great job about moving things around for you. I was
Yeah.
sitting on the couch watching the day unfold where you left a
Oh,
baseball game mid game to play in the football spring game.
crazy, crazy.
What was that day like? Was it as crazy and exciting for you as it was for all the fans watching it
Oh,
happen?
it was unbelievable, right? Really, that whole spring was. But that day, it kind of all got highlighted.
Right.
But like I was doing that every day. Like that's what I was doing every day. Like and so it was just really cool. Like you go from one TV camera to the other TV camera of doing it and so it was like, wow, this is documented. Like this is sick, you know. But like yeah, like you talking about living the dream, like all right, I'm going to go, you know, whatever, hit a triple and then run around and then I'm going to go over there and throw some touchdown passes. Like let's do it. You know, that's every kid's dream where I'm from in Hattiesburg, and I know it's around the world. That's what kids want to do, and so to be able to do that, it was like have to pinch yourself a little bit. But in that spring, that whole spring was just unbelievable. I think like that day was unbelievable, but one of the days that kind of gets like swept under the rug is when we played ECU
Okay.
in baseball. Uh, I'll tell you the quick story. But so we have a football scrimmage. Okay,
Right.
it's a Saturday. We have a football scrimmage. I go from the football scrimmage. I do 5 drives, and then I leave as like the at the end of the scrimmages, like the twos and the threes kind of get more of a chance. They get to go play ball, you know. And so during that period of time, Coach Malzahn was like, "All right, go ahead, cut you loose." And so I go. I take a quick shower. As I'm like rolling out the door, I already have bags packed. Um, Somebody's waiting for me with a bag of food. Like I'm telling you, it was a full team job just to make this stuff happen. So I'm Miss Angela's waiting there with a uh, bag of food. Erica, what did I just say? Angela, Erica, with a bag of food. I'm running. Boom! I get in the truck with Kenny, who is the ops guy at
Yep.
UCF. Not he was a equipment guy. Now he's the ops guy at ETSU. He's one of my best friends. He's going to be at my wedding. He drives me to the airport. I walk out on the tarmac. I get on a private jet. One of the UCF boosters has he has a private jet he's letting me use. So me and Mark Godwin, one of the content guys, we hop on this jet. We fly up and down to ECU, get off the plane, get into another car that's been sitting there waiting on me, go to the cages at ETSU. I mean ECU, and they're warming up. I hit like 5 minutes in the cage, and we start the game, and then we play a doubleheader. I think we got beat that day, so that made it suck a little bit. But like that was the craziest day to me. Like I went from scrimmage to private jet to doubleheader. I was like, this is crazy. This is unbelievable.
That's crazy. What would 10-year-old John Rhys say about that?
Oh, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't even know what a private jet was, probably, but like, I was like, if to be able to do that was unreal. Like, you talking about like really feeling like, when Dion did it. Like,
Right.
I was feeling like Dion. Like, I was like straight from one to the other. I was like, this is sick. This is really awesome.
So when it finally was all said and done, your college career, you had to
Yeah,
choose between baseball and football.
I did.
Why football?
Yeah, you talking about a hard decision. That's a tough decision. Now, I kind of knew at some point it was coming. You gotta, playing in the NFL and MLB is
Right.
crazy. Like for Dion to do it was unbelievable. For Bo Jackson, like they're like it's crazy to do. Like you're playing with the best of the best at both. And so um, I had an opportunity. Uh, so I played UCF baseball. That next draft is after that season. I had an opportunity to to sign a contract for not a lot of
Right.
money. Just not a ton. Um, and then I decided to come back and play football. But there is a scenario where I could have signed, played the football season, and then picked. Ended up not happening like that because it just wasn't a ton of money. And ultimately, I think it was a big reason why I picked football because in terms of baseball, I was old.
Yeah.
Um, those Major League Baseball teams they want that 18-year-old kid coming out of high school that can really throw hard, that they can develop. And so I'm coming out and I'm 23 years old. I'm old in their eyes, which 23-year-olds not
No.
old, but in baseball you got to go through the farm leagues, you got to go through minor leagues and get up, and usually it takes somewhere 4 or 5 years to make it all the way up, right? If you're crazy and you're doing awesome, yeah, you can make it in 2 or 3, but like most of the time it's 4 or 5. And so it was kind of a decision of like, do I go the long road and you're betting on yourself in 4 or 5 years to get to essentially the money, or do you go take the NFL route where, you can get cut tomorrow, but you're quicker to that, I guess, the making a living,
Right.
and so that was a big piece for it, because I've been dating my girlfriend at that period of time for 6 years. We've been, together now for almost 8, and I wanted to propose, and I wanted to, kind of start working my way to building a family. You need some money to do that, and so that's a big reason why that I chose the NFL route.
So now you are in the NFL. You went
Yeah.
originally undrafted to the Steelers. Then you were
Yes.
with the Jags for a short stint. And now
Correct.
you are with the Seahawks.
Yes. Yes. You did your homework.
I
That's impressive.
did.
That's
I
good.
did. It's one thing I can
That's
do.
good.
I can't throw a football,
Let's
but I
go.
can do research.
Let's go. Let's go.
So you mentioned earlier that you guys have to report soon you have to
Yeah.
report to camp soon.
Ending year one was a
Right.
whirlwind, right? Because I'm going from Pittsburgh, and then you go from like, all right, dang, I get cut. The final cut date, I thought I was doing well, and so I'm driving my truck back to Mississippi, and it's like, man, this is what am I going to do? Like, I started, trying to figure out where I'm going to work, what kind of job am I going to get, and all of a sudden I get a call from my agent, hey, Jacksonville wants you. And so I just turn the truck a little bit left and I just go straight to Jacksonville. Like I'm like, all right, sweet. I'm pressing the gas pedal. I'm on the way,
Right.
and so then I'm in Jacksonville. Trevor gets hurt. He kind of gets banged up. They bring in another guy. We're there about half a year. Then I'm with Seattle finishing up there. Now they switch me to play receiver. And so I'm like, oh, I'm trying to learn how to do that, and you're learning a new playbook all in the same thing, and you're living out of a suitcase the whole time, right? So it's just like it's a whirlwind, right? Like that first year was just like I'm just trying to keep my head on straight, keep my head above water, right? But then you get to the off season, and it's like, all right, you can take a breath, you can kick your feet up for a second, let your body heal up, and then I'm getting the opportunity to go through the off season, right? The OTA process. I'm getting to learn the offense inside and out. Now we're about to go to camp. I already have a head start on this offense. Whereas in Pittsburgh, it was like go. Where like fresh out of college, there's a big learning curve there, especially as the quarterback position. It was a ton, but now you kind of once you get to go through an off season with a team, for me, it's been a lot easier to digest some of the stuff that I was drinking water through a fire hose there that
Right.
first year. It's a lot easier to digest it now.
When you got switched to the receiver position, what was your
Yeah.
initial thought process with that? Because I know playing quarterback was really important to you in your college career.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And so went to Pittsburgh, right? Just to recap, went to Pittsburgh, did quarterback through camp, got a couple of drives in the preseason. Definitely would want to get more than that. Then went to Jacksonville. As the third quarterback in the room, you're not getting a ton of
Right.
reps. And then I ultimately end up in Seattle, and they're wanting me to play receiver. Um, and so that process is crazy in itself. So I get cut in Jacksonville. And then I'm in Orlando. Actually, I just drive to Orlando because UCF. I got some boys that are still there.
Right.
I'm just staying with them, just until I can figure something out, right? And then I get a call, and Seattle wants to work me out, and so that process looks like you get on a flight. I was sitting there playing golf with some buddies, and they call me like, "Hey, you got to get on a flight in an hour." So I'm going to get my stuff straight to the airport, fly all the way up to Seattle. You get there that evening, go to sleep, wake up. You're doing a bunch of MRIs, like they're wanting to like check you, make sure your body's all healthy, and then you work out. It's a long process to be. The workout's only like 15 minutes long. Like it's not very long at all. Like, and so I'm throwing to like four guys, and they get done, and it was like, "Hey man, you threw great. What size gloves do you wear?" And I'm like, size large. Like I don't know. Like they're like, "Will you run through some of these cones and catch the ball?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely," because I don't got a job.
Right.
Like I gotta get a job somehow. And I ran through, looked good. They cut all the rest of the guys loose and kept me. And they were like, "Hey, congrats, you made it. You're in the receiver room." So I'm like, "Oh shoot, all right." Like, all right. So then the next day you're at practice. Like there's no like acclimation period.
Right.
Like you go from I was at home not having a job to I'm at practice now. And so I had a prior relationship with DK Metcalf
Okay.
because he went to Ole Miss, and I've thrown to him a couple of times, and so he was like, he knew that I played quarterback. Everybody else in the receiver room, they just thought I was receiver.
Right.
And so like, we're going through drills and stuff, and I'm like, I'm just watching guys and trying to do exactly what they do. I'm just trying to blend in, like I'm just trying to do exactly what they're doing. But now I've kind of learned a little bit more, right? And getting you that belief in self kind of pipes in, and you're going through the off season now, and I'm starting to have a little bit more of an understanding of it. But for the long answer, to make it a lot shorter, my heart's probably always going to be playing quarterback. I love playing quarterback. That's what I've always wanted to do my whole life. But I'm getting to play in the NFL,
Right.
right? So like, I'm happy to play receiver, and I'm going to give it everything that I've got, because that's kind of how I'm wired, right? Like you're going to get 110% of me and whatever I'm doing. So when that's playing receiver, like I'm going to go balls to the wall. Like that's the only way I know how to do it.
And through this journey, I know a big part of your life is your faith. You talk about it a lot
Yeah.
publicly, which is amazing. How does that come into play during all this uncertainty and maybe, times where you're feeling that doubt that we talked about? How
Yeah.
does your faith play into your journey and where you are now?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I think extremely vital, and especially as somebody that grew up playing ball, and like you kind of start seeing yourself as this. Like I'm John Rhys Plumlee, the football and baseball player, because I do it so much. I do it every day. I wake up and I do it, and I work hard at it. Maybe I'm John Rhys Plumlee, the student, like. And it's all fine and great or whatever, or I'm John Rhys Plumlee, the whatever I'm doing,
Right.
like I'm the accountant, it's all fine and dandy, and that's great until, you make a bad grade, you twist an ankle, or you get fired from your job. Then what are you?
Right.
You're right. Like it's like it kind of shakes you a little bit, because if your identity is in something that is as fragile as football or what you do, or something that you like to do, like it's really dangerous, because that's super fragile. Like that can be taken really quickly. And that's a lesson that I learned at Ole Miss. And it is. I told myself, never again will I see myself as John Rhys, the athlete, or John Rhys, the student. But something, I need to put my identity in something more concrete. And I started seeing myself as John Rhys, the follower of Jesus. And so that's something that's it's so concrete, right? Like you're not riding this roller coaster. Like last year, my first year in the NFL, like I'm on Pittsburgh, then I'm cut. Then I'm on Jacksonville, then I'm
Right.
cut. Then I'm on the Seahawks, wait, I'm playing receiver, but I have a job. Like so, you're just riding this roller coaster if you put your identity in something like that. But to know that you're wanted and you're chosen by the Savior of this universe is something that is never wavering. Like that is super concrete, and you can always bet your bottom dollar on that. And that's been really, really fundamental for me.
I think that nowadays a lot of people are hesitant to talk about faith or religion or politics, whatever it may be. So I applaud you for using your platform the way you do. It's huge and it's
I appreciate
important.
that. I
It's
appreciate
important.
that. I appreciate that. I think you're right. It's tough, like because at the end of the day, like I am a broken person,
Right.
right? Just like I think everybody else is that's walking on this earth. I think only one man walked on this earth perfect, and he died for us, right? And so um, I'm gonna screw up. As a follower of Jesus, I try not to. You try not to, but the ultimate reality is that I'm gonna fall short. Um, but again, that goes back to I'm so thankful that I don't have to be the determining factor of where my salvation is, because Lord knows I screw up every day. Like I'm like just like all of us do, right? And so I'm so thankful that, like you said, that I kind of learned that lesson earlier on at Ole Miss, that don't put yourself or your identity in something so fragile, because it can be taken away, and it did for me. And so I got to learn that lesson.
Since we're on the theme of constants, you're home
Yeah,
in Mississippi right now, and
yeah, yeah,
you also mentioned that you're getting married soon.
yeah. Fired up.
How do you use the time with family and with your fiance to kind of balance out the stress of football? And how do you make sure with such a rigorous and busy schedule that you're filling all these cups?
Yeah, yeah. I that's a really good question, because that is something that can be challenging, because you're getting pulled at, in a bunch of different directions, right? Like when you're home, your boys want to see you, but then, your girlfriend wants to see you, who's now your fiance, and then you want to see your family and your grandparents and all this. Um, and you're right, a lot of people are pulling at you, but the thing is, I love all these people that I'm here with,
Right.
right? And I'm starting to really love the people that I'm up in Seattle with. And so I've always found that the best way to maximize and to fill cups and to pour into other people and let other people pour into you is be 100% where your feet are, right? Like when I'm in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, I'm in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, right? Like I'm with my family and we're going to rock and roll, whatever we're doing. If we're, fishing, if we're swimming, if we're, you name it. If I'm with Lucy and we're at the beach like we were, last week, like we're having a ball. Like I'm full speed wherever my feet are. Like we're going to be having the best time wherever my feet are. And I don't know if there's another way to do it, because of, like you said, like it's can be really hectic with a, because you're not here for half a year, you're all over the place, but then when you get back, everybody's pulling at you.
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it is just go full speed at wherever you're at, and I think that's what I've found to be the best thing for me.
So as we wrap this up, we will be in football season sooner than we know
Yeah,
it. What are
yeah.
your individual goals for this season, both on the field and off the field?
Yeah, I want to on the field. Obviously, first step for me is making the team, right? Like that's as a fringe guy, I want to work my way, scratch, claw, bite my way onto the roster, and then you want to be a contributor, and whatever that looks like for me, I'm ready for it. Whether it's on special teams, or if it's blocking my tail off, or if it's catching passes, or if they got me in short yardage quarterback stuff, or whatever. I want to be a contributor, right? Like I can say that, hey, the Seahawks were better because John Rhys was on it. And then off the field, I want to have that same impact on the people that are in the Seahawks facility. I want the people around the team and the team itself to say, hey, we were a better collective of people because John Rhys was on the team. I think it's cool that if you can impact both on the field and off the field, I think that's when you're really, I can't call it making jumps, like you're really making jumps, like, and that's everybody with the team and the people that are around the team with the support staff, because as I'm sure, like it takes a real
Right.
village. Like like in the NFL, like there's guys that are upstairs that they're strictly watching film for next year of who we're gonna get.
Yeah.
There's guys in the cafeteria like Stu and the guys that are just making food every day and they do a dang good job. We got guys on the support staff like Jay Rainey, like with the FCA. That I mean, like it takes a real village from like I said, everybody you can think of. We got 4 of them,
Right.
and so I want to be able to say, hey, because my hand was in the pile with these guys, we were a better collective of people and we were a better team.
So outside of football, you're getting married this year. What else is on the docket for the
Yeah.
next year of John Rhys's life?
That is the big thing that's coming next. Getting married in February to Lucy Elizabeth Moore, changing that last name to Plumlee here sooner than later. So super fired up about that. She's been planning like crazy. I've kind of been hands off in that process because she's getting it the way she wants it, asking me opinions here and there, But other than that, not a ton. Other than getting married. Obviously, I'm going to get into some endeavors as I usually do, whether good or bad. I usually can find my way into something, and so excited what the future holds.
Awesome. Well, I have a Gabe Davis Bills jersey on my wall.
Let's go.
So I
Let's
need
go.
a John Rhys Seahawks jersey eventually, but you
Yeah,
gave me a new
absolutely.
team to root for. So I'll be
Heck
rooting
yeah.
for you and the Seahawks this season.
I really, really appreciate it, Madison. We're going to get you that jersey one way or another.
Well, you have a great rest of your time with your family and rooting for you always.
Thanks so much, Madison. Appreciate you. God bless.